All right, Shalom, Israel, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom. Pray everybody's doing well through the Spirit. Um, Honor and glory, first and foremost, to the Most High God, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. All right, it's an honor and a privilege to come here and do these classes. All right, and Lord's will, this will be a good one. All right, for everybody, including myself. All right, I can't stress it enough. 95% of the time I do a class, it's for me. It's more for me than it is for anybody else. You know, I struggle with things, I deal with things, you know, just as much or probably more than some people do. All right. So Lord willing, we get something out of this class. We all do. Turn this off real quick. All right. Con. All right. So the name of this class is called Why Do We Need to Die Daily? Or yeah, why I thought I changed it to how from how either how to die daily or why do we need to die daily. All right. I probably changed it to why do we need to die daily. All right, where does that come from in the Bible? All right, let's go to First Corinthians. Where does that come from in the Bible? First Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 31. All right, it says, I protest by your rejoicing, which I have in Hamashiach Yahushai, our Lord, I die daily. All right, so Paul says here that he dies daily. Does that mean that Paul gives up the ghost every day? Literally? No, of course not. It's a metaphor, all right, for killing yourself, killing your flesh, all right, killing that old man, killing that old woman every single day. All right. So in this class, we'll examine why do we need to do that? How do we do that? All right. So from there, let's go to, matter of fact, I'm gonna call an audible real quick and go to John. Let me go to John chapter 3 and verse. All right. So here the title is The New Birth. All right. The New Birth. All right. So I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, there was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews. All right. The same came to Yahushua by night and said unto him, Rabbi, we know that thou art a teacher from Yahweh, for no man can do these miracles that thou doest, except Yahweh be with him. All right, Yahushua answered and said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of Yahweh. All right, so if you die daily, then at some point you have to be born. All right, you have to be born again. All right, we're gonna look at how you do that. As a matter of fact, why do we need to be born again? Why do any of us need to be born again? Let's go to Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28, and we're gonna start at verse 15. All right, it says, but it shall come to pass if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh, thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. All right. So, of course, the nation of Israel didn't hearken. We didn't hearken unto the voice of our power, of our God. So, as a result of that, we got cursed. Right? Let's see what some of the curses are. It says, curse shall thou be in the city, and curse shall thou be in the field. Right? Meaning we'll be living in the worst parts of the cities and anywhere in the world. When you go to the hood, you expect to see Israel. All right. Curse shall thou be in the field. You're gonna work in the fields, you're gonna be cursed in the job field. All right. All these things are upon the nation of Israel. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. All right. Your basket is your wallet, your account. All right. It seems like you get the check and it's gone. Bills eat it up. You can get your check, see it, bask in the fact that you got however much money deposited into your account. And then as you pay them bills, it just kind of just disintegrates. It just disappears. The numbers get lower and lower, right? And it says, and thy store. What's thy store? Businesses, black-owned businesses. All right. Over 80% of them fail within the first 3 years. All right. I was of the select few. I had my business for 14 years, but I don't got it no more because it's cursed. All right, let's keep going. It says, verse 18, cursed shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind and the flocks of thy sheep. All right, so the point here is that I want to make is cursed shall be the fruit of thy body. What's the fruit of thy body? Your kids. All right. The Bible says that Israel was going to sin, and as a result, our babies was going to be cursed. That's why you got our babies being born with ADHD, autism. Some of us have physical deformities. All right. But also our mindset is cursed. All right. A lot of us, we think like our parents think. Now a lot of us got parents with negative mindsets. All right. So whatever you grew up seeing and watching, hearing, you whether you wanted to or not, you took on a lot of those things, right? As I got older, I started to see, and some of it may be good things, but I started to see I had a lot of ways like my parents. All right. A lot of the things that they do and would say, I noticed that I would say it, or I enjoyed doing those things. Like my mom, I love my mom. She loves to host. She loved to host. She loved to invite people over and show them the best time. Treat them like kings and queens. All right. My mom, she the type. Yeah, if she invites you over, she gonna take you in her closet and just be like, whatever you see in there you like, you can have it. And the brothers that know me, you know what I'm saying? I don't do exactly that, but I love to like bless my friends and give them nice things, you know what I'm saying? So that's a trait that I took on from my mom. But a lot of times we'll take on negative traits as well, and so because of that, we have to be born again. We got to be born again. And in order to be born again, you got to die daily. You got to die to that old man, to that old woman daily. All right. Let's keep going to Deuteronomy 28. Let's go to verse 64. Why else do we need to die daily? Deuteronomy 28 and verse 64. All right. It says, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all the people from one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, right? We're going to serve other gods once we get scattered. Now, who got scattered? Let's look at a map. Let's see what that sounds like. Let's look at a map. I like maps. All right, we'll just get this one. This is a little bit more detailed. Let's look at that one. All right, so you can see where the map starts. All right. Well, you can see one of the places it started. All right, over here off the west coast of Africa. All right, and it took these people from here all up here to Europe and over here to the West Indies and up over here. You even had it coming and starting out of here. Who was up over in this area? Our Taino Indian brothers and sisters, Native Americans, right? They went from there to Africa, all right? And you had people here in the West Indies go from there to the Americas, right? Slide it over some. You had people coming from Americas over to Europe, right? And from Southern America over to Europe. All right. So that looked like you getting scattered. All right. Don't that look like somebody getting scattered? Who did that happen to? So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, right? Let's keep going. So it said, when you get scattered among all those people, you're going to serve other gods. You're going to learn how to worship other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. All right. So that happened to us. All right. Let's keep going. And it says, and among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. A trembling heart is anxiety. A lot of our people, especially our women, have been diagnosed, whether by a doctor or self-diagnosed, with those symptoms. At the end of the day, those are just spirits. All right. But it says you're going to have a trembling heart and failing of eyes. All right. And sorrow of mind, which is another way to say depression. All right. A lot of our people deal with depression because they don't have anything to put hope in. All they know is what they grew up seeing, they experiences growing up. A lot of our brothers and sisters was abused and don't even realize that they was abused. All right. So when things like that happen to you growing up, it's not necessarily your fault, right? You just kind of grew up in that situation and it was your norm. But they can have a long lasting effect on you as you become an adult. All right. You can keep in mind that that person said you was stupid, that your parents were saying you was ugly. Your uncle used to touch you. Your cousin used to touch you. You can carry that stuff with you on into adulthood, and it'll affect you in a lot of different ways. I'll give you an example myself, right? I experienced a few of them things that I just named. All right. And as a result, when I got older, to cope with it, I would drink, I would smoke, I would be promiscuous. All right. All those things were for me coping mechanisms. All right. But biblically speaking, all those things are what? Sins. All right. So a lot of times to cope with stuff that we dealt with growing up, we tend to turn to sin to make us feel better. All right. Because sin makes you feel better. Let's get a precept. Let's go to the book of Hebrews. Sin feels good. All right. We ain't gonna cap. We have no caps on at this congregation. We ask brothers to take their caps off before we start teaching. All right. So you won't get no cap over here. Let's go to Hebrews 11 and verse 25. Right. It says, Moses, talking about Moses, it says, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. So sin is pleasurable. When I used to roll that blunt up and light it, I forget about all my problems, right? But what did that ultimately keep me from doing? Taking accountability. All right. Stuff, and especially once I learned, hey, this stuff happened to you because as a nation, your people cursed. It made it make sense. I was depressed about my dad not being there, depressed that my kids' mama wouldn't let them see me, right? But all of that stuff is in the curses. So it made it all make sense, right? So to speak. All right, let's keep going. I want to deal more with why we need to be born again. All right, let's go to Psalms. Psalms chapter 51 and verse. We'll start at 1. All right. It says, a psalm of David when Nathan the prophet came unto him after he had gone into Bathsheba. So what's that talking about? This is when you read the book of Samuel. This is dealing with after David committed adultery. All right. And he slept with another man's wife, and he also had that man murdered. All right. So this is the psalm that David wrote after he did that. It says, have mercy upon me, O Yahweh, according to thy loving kindness, according unto the multitude of thy tender mercies, blot out my transgressions. Right? So he's asking the Lord to wash his sins away. It says, wash me thoroughly from mine iniquity and cleanse me from my sin. Whenever we sin, last week we talked about what to do when you fall. All right. When you fall, if you fall, you need to be washed clean from that sin. Why? Because those demons, when they get on you, they don't want to leave. They attach themselves to you and they want to stay. All right. So David asked the right thing. Wash me thoroughly from mine iniquity and cleanse me from my sin. Right. For I acknowledge my transgressions and my sin is ever before me. I know I did wrong and I can see it. Right. Against thee only have I sinned and done this evil in thy sight, that thou mightest be justified when thou speakest and be clear when thou judgest. Right. Verse 5, it says, behold, look, I was shapen in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me. Meaning what? I was born in this flesh. You shaped me and brought me into this world, and I got this flesh, and it just want to sin. All right. It just wants to sin. That's the only thing it want to do. Right. Let's go to Romans. Paul said the same thing. Right. That's one thing that when you come into this truth, as you study and learn about the Most High, you're going to become painfully apparent that, dang, this body that I'm in just want to sin. All it want to do is whatever this tells me not to do, right? And it becomes frustrating, or it should become frustrating, right? Let's get that in Romans 7. Let me see where I want to jump down to. Let me start at verse 5, right? It says, for when we were in the flesh, the motions of sin, which were by the law, did work in our members to bring forth fruit unto death. What is that talking about? For when we were in the flesh, meaning because you still in the flesh physically, you still got a fleshly bodysuit on, right? It says, so when it said when we were in the flesh, meaning when our minds only thought carnally, when we didn't think about things spiritually, we only thought about it carnally. The motions of sin, which were by the law, right? Which were by the law means when you read the law, it tells you what you shouldn't do, and you can see that you doing it, and it makes sin obvious. You supposed to read the Bible and say, dang, I'm sinning. I'm doing what it say don't do. Right? That's what he's talking about. It says, did work in our members to bring forth fruit unto death. Meaning what? We seen we were sinning and we kept on sinning, and it brought forth death to us. Right? Let's keep going. It says, but now are we delivered from the law? Right? Or rather, here going into, look, you sin, you commit homosexuality, you gotta die. You sleep with an animal, you gotta die. Right? So it says, but now are we delivered from the law, that being dead wherein we were held, right? That we should serve in newness of spirit and not in the oldness of the letter, right? In newness of spirit, meaning you sincerely want to please the Most High, right? When it says the oldness of the letter, when you would make a sacrifice to the Most High, it was an account kept of that. Every time, okay, did this, and there was an account kept of it. All right. But you supposed to be in newness of spirit once you get born again. You're not supposed to be in that dead state that you was in before you found out what you should be doing. All right, let's keep going. It says, what shall we say then? Is the law sin? God forbid. Nay, I had not known sin but by the law. That's what he said up above in the chapter. I didn't know what sin was unless I read the law and it told me what sin was. For I had not known lust, except the law had said, thou shalt not covet. So coveting is lusting. Lust is covetousness. It's the same thing. It says, but sin, taking occasion by the commandment, right? When I read the law and seen what sin was, wrought in me all manner of concupiscences. It showed me how strong of lust I was dealing with, right? For without the law, sin was dead, meaning without the law, I didn't realize that I was in sin. Okay, let's keep going. It says, for I was alive without the law once, meaning my old man was alive. When I didn't fully understand the law, I was alive. We say today, living your best life, right? But when the commandment came, sin revived and I died. Meaning what? When I learned about the commandments, I seen this sin that I was in and I died. Meaning I had to kill that old man. I had to kill that old woman. And not just one time, not 3 times, every single day. Every single day. You gotta, hey, I have days where I don't read. Get caught up with, like, I put stuff in life ahead of doing this. And that's not right. That's not okay. But like I said, ain't no caps on over here, right? I won't get up on here and act like I have it together 24/7. Paul telling us he ain't got it together 24/7. So it happens, right? It happens sometimes. It says, for I was alive without the law once, but when the commandment came, sin revived and I died. You have to die daily. You got to do your best to die every day. Kill that old man and that old woman every day. Every day you let that old man live, and every day you let that old woman live, they get stronger and stronger and stronger. All right. And we can't afford that. Let's keep going. Verse 10, it says, and the commandment which was ordained to life, I found to be unto death. Meaning the commandment gives you life. But if the commandment gonna give you life, then that means at the same time as you getting life, that old man is dying. That old woman is getting put to death. All right. It says, for sin taken occasion by the commandment deceived me, and by it slew me. For sin, when it was revealed to me by the commandment, deceived me. Because why? It feel good. Sinning feel good. It says, and by it slew me. It killed the new man. You see how Paul, he kind of talking like a very, very smart person would talk. Sometimes they can kind of talk over our head, but I'm trying to break it down as simple as I can, right? But that's what he's saying. For sin taken occasion by the commandment, when the law revealed to me what sin I was in, I realized I was deceived, and by it slew me, right? It slew that old man. It says, wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy and just and good. There's nothing wrong with the law. Nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with the law. It says, was then that which was good made death unto me? Was the law a bad thing? God forbid. But because the law do what? Give you life. It says, but sin, that it might appear sin, working death in me by that which is good. Sin that I can know that is sin and appear to be sin allowed me to kill that old man that just wants to sin. All right. That sin by the commandment might become exceedingly sinful. Right. Meaning what? Paul basically telling us, let's get it where he said it a little simpler. All right. Let's go to 1 Corinthians. Let's get it where he said the same. Matter of fact, let me go back here and go to 1 Corinthians because we're going to come back. All right. He said it a little bit simpler over here. 1 Corinthians. Oh, no. I want Hebrews. Hebrews chapter 5 and verse 14, I want to say. Next to the last verse. Yeah. yeah, 14. It says, but strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age, even those. So full age, when he says full age, he's saying them that are perfect. Perfect meaning complete. That's who the strong meat in the Bible belongs to. Those that are complete. How do you know you're a full age or complete or perfect? Right? It says, even those, this is him explaining this, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil. When you start to get to where you can discern good and evil, I like he said over here. Let's go back to Romans 7. Like he said over here, I'll close that. Yeah. Like he said over here in verse 13, that sin might by the commandment become exceedingly sinful, meaning my discernment is so high that old trick that used to work on me don't work no more. It's exceedingly sinful. I know just how bad it is, and you can't trick me like that no more. That's what he's saying. He got his senses exercised. But in order to do that, you have to be born again. You got to kill that old man every day. Kill that old woman every day so that they get weak and the spirit gets stronger, right? Let's go back to Romans 7. Paul went in on this, man, right? He said, look here, the conflict of two natures. That's what it's about. Two natures, the flesh against the spirit. Let's keep going. It says, for we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal. The law gonna tell me what to do, everything that's right. It's good. But me in this flesh, like David said, I was shaping in iniquity. I'm sinful. I'm carnal, sold under the law, meaning I'm a slave to the law of sin and death, because the law tell me if I sin, I'm supposed to die, and I sin every day, right? So I'm sold. If you sold, that means you are indebted. All right, indebted to the law of sin and death. We indebted to death because we supposed to be dead. All right, let's keep going. It says, for that which I do, I allow not. For that which I do, I allow not. For what I would, that do I not. But what I hate, that I do. Meaning what Paul saying, look, he telling this to the Romans. He basically keeping it a buck with them. He keeping it quite tall right now. He like, look, I wrote y'all this letter. I teach y'all what the Hamashiach said we supposed to be doing, but I struggle too. I'm dealing with stuff too. The thing that I don't want to do, that's exactly what I do. Right? He just told us up in verse 7, right? He told us up in verse 7, for I had not known lust, except the law had said, thou shalt not covet. It says, but sin taking occasion by the commandment wrought in me all manner of concupiscence. Paul letting you know, look, man, I'm dealing with strong lust, strong covetousness. I know I ain't supposed to want this, but I want it, right? He got a conflict of two natures, and like we all do, right? Let's keep going. He says, for we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin. I'm indebted to death, right? I'm supposed to be dead. For that which I do, I allow not. For what I want to do the law. That do I not. I don't keep it all the time. But what I hate, that I do. If then I do that which I would not, if I end up sinning, I consent unto the law that it is good. If I sin, I ain't nothing wrong with the law. It's something wrong with me. It's because I'm in this flesh, right? This flesh just want to go to hell off. Now then, it is no more me, no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me, right? He says, for I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing. For two will is present with me. Two wills are in me. I'm torn, but how to perform that which is good, I find not. I don't know how to every single day keep the law. I don't know how to not go to hell off at least some point throughout the day. I don't know how to not have a wicked thought, right? So that's why we have to die daily. From the moment you open your eyes in the morning, you have to understand that the battle is on. Even in your sleep, demons attack you in your sleep. You be sleeping and you got spirits trying to attack you. That's why sometimes you might have a crazy dream where you did some type of sin in your dream. Sometimes we'll have wet dreams, and it might be an unrighteous thought that was going on in our mind, right? So you always being attacked. The battle don't stop. The battle never stops. So think about a person that's fighting, a fighter. Between rounds, they go do what? They go try to rejuvenate that fighter. They'll put the cold press on where they might be swollen at, give them some water, try to hydrate them, right? Some boxers even get their hair combed. Whatever you got to do to rejuvenate that fighter so that they can go back out in the next round and perform. It's the same thing with us through the spirit. You got to do things, and I'm talking to myself. We got to do things to make sure that our spirit stays rejuvenated. We have to. If you don't, then that spirit man, that spirit woman is going to get weaker while that flesh man, flesh woman gets stronger. And if they get too strong, can you kill them? Nah, you can't kill them. They going to kill the spirit man, spirit woman. That's what'll happen, right? So from there, let's go to Revelation. So to do that, we understand why we got to do that now, hopefully. And we understand what we got to use to do that, to die daily, right? But the process of that is not all, it don't always feel good, right? Let's go to Revelation chapter 10 and verse number 9. I'm going to start at 8. It says, and the voice which I heard from heaven spake unto me again and said, go and take the little book which is open in the hand of the angel which standeth upon the sea and upon the earth. So the little book, the Laki, is the Bible. All right. It says, and I went unto the angel and said unto him, give me the little book. Give me the understanding of the Bible. And he said unto me, take it. Here, you can have it. And eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. And that's a lot. That couldn't be more accurate, right? It's fun to teach the Bible. All right. It's beautiful when you can go out on the highways and byways and teach somebody the Bible. Even prophesying to the wind, knowing precepts, sending precepts, is sweet in your mouth. Oh, we the Israelites, we the chosen people. You know, all that is nice to talk about it. But once you eat it and you digest it, it's like what Paul said. It's revealing to you, hey, that's wrong. You can't do that. You can't listen to that. You can't eat that. You can't wear that. It reveals all that to you. And so is what? It's bitter in your belly. The process of dying, think about dying. That ain't typically something you would think that feels good. All right. And it doesn't. It's bitter in your belly because why? You have to be what? Disciplined. It takes discipline, and discipline don't always feel good. Feel like a person want to lose weight. They may, before they started that weight loss journey, eat whatever danishes and cakes and fried whatever that they wanted, and they gained weight. And it was easy to do that. It was sweet in your mouth. But boy, once that fat go to jiggling and you go to running and shaking, it's bitter. It hurt. It's tough. It's discipline to not eat that fried whatever. It's discipline to not eat them danishes no more. Same thing with the spirit. It's discipline to not watch that porn no more. It's discipline to not listen to that wicked music no more. It's hard. It ain't easy. This mind, this carnal mind that you got gonna tell you, go do it. Go do it. Just do it one more time. It's gonna tell you that. And it takes discipline to make yourself not do it again. All right. Takes discipline. All right. Let's go to Exodus. Remember, we read in Hebrews. Matter of fact, let's go back to Hebrews. Hebrews 11. Read about Moses again. Everybody that served the Lord that you read about in this Bible had to deal with what you're dealing with right now in some capacity, right? Everybody. All right. Hebrews 11 and verse 24. All right. It says, by faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. Now, what kind of advantages do you think the son of Pharaoh's daughter had? Right? Let's see. It's going to give us a clue. It says choosing rather to suffer affliction, meaning have to be what? Disciplined, suffer affliction with the people of God. Everybody that's the people of God is suffering. If you want to be a child of God, anybody that's trying to please God, they suffering. They suffering. That flesh is bugging the hell out. It wants you to just do whatever. Anybody that's serving, if you ain't suffering in some facet, you might not be serving God, man. You might be giving in to your flesh here or there or everywhere, and you can't see it. You might be reprobate, right? But Moses chose rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. So to be Pharaoh, to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter afforded you to enjoy the pleasures of sin. Meaning what? He could have had women, money, fame, clout, all that. Whatever he wanted at the snap of a finger, he could have had it, right? So Moses, understand, he grew up as an Egyptian. He grew up as the daughter of Pharaoh. He grew up like that. It wasn't until he was a man, that he was 40 years old, that he say, I ain't doing that, man. I ain't with that. 40 years old. 40 years old, 40 years old, 40 years of hitting the baddest female, the baddest Hamites, eating all the abominations he can eat. You gotta understand, he what he gave up. You understand? He gave up a lot. So Moses had to kill that old man. Moses had to die daily, right? What did the Lord tell Moses? Let's go to Exodus. Exodus chapter 3. And we're going to start at verse 1. What did the Lord tell Moses? It says, and now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of Yahweh, even to Horeb. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. So you got this bush burning, but it ain't burning, right? It ain't being consumed with the fire. It says, and behold, and he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. It's just burning. Gotta say, understand that with that probably blowed his mind, right? It said, look what he said. It said, and Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. He throwed right now. And when the Lord saw that, and when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, so he turning aside like kind of peeking, right? Yahweh called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, here I am, right? So the bush done started talking to him. And he said, draw not nigh hither. Don't come no closer, Moses. Put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground. So he said, look, don't come no closer. Take your shoes off. What do you mean, take your shoes off? The place you standing on is holy ground, right? Let's get that in Ecclesiastes. What do you mean, take your shoes off? Take your shoes literally off? All right, let's go to Ecclesiastes 5 and verse 1. All right, it says, keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of God, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. So keep thy foot when thou goest into the house of God, meaning what? Your mouth. Don't sometimes as the first thing to learn when you realize you an Israelite is to shut up. Don't be so ready to just go and just talk about what you think you know, right? Keep thy foot. So what is he telling Moses? Look, when you come, before you come any closer, I need you to be ready to listen, not talk, right? It says, for they consider not that they do evil, but be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thy heart be hasty to utter anything before Yahweh. For Yahweh is in heaven, and thou upon the earth. Therefore, let thy words be few. So keep thy foot, meaning close your mouth. You can think about it like somebody might say, you like to run your mouth. Well, your mouth can't run, but it's like a metaphor, right? A saying, right? Of old. So when he telling Moses, keep thy foot, don't come up here ready to tell me what you think you know. That's why we have to, when we born again, you gotta surrender. You kind of just gotta surrender, man. You kind of just gotta just let the Most High have it. Let him have his way with you, man. Stop saying what you can't do, or why you keep doing that sin, or why you can't repent, or you gonna do. Just shut up. Just shut up and listen and let the Most High have it, man. He know what he doing, and he only wants the best for us, right? Let's keep going. Let's go from there. Let's go to Luke. You got to kind of put out, not Moses, he was in that Egyptian state of mind. So what you think he was ready to talk about? All them false gods, all that idolatry. Same thing with us, right? We came into this truth from being Americans, a lot of us. So in order to be born again, in order to put that old man and that old woman away, you got to stop thinking like an American. You got to stop thinking like that. Stop talking like that. Just be quiet and listen. All right. It's good to listen. Let's go to Luke chapter 5. Yahweh Shah said the same thing. Luke 5 and verse 37. I'm going to start. I'm going to start at, matter of fact, I'm going to start at 36. It says, and he spake also a parable unto them. No man putteth a piece of new garment upon an old, right? If otherwise, then both the new maketh a rent, and the piece that was taken out of the new agreeth not with the old. So that's a metaphor. That's a parable for us in the spirit and us in the flesh. He said you can't take a new piece of garment and try to put it with an old piece, because it's gonna rip. They're not gonna agree, right? It says, and the piece that was taken out of the new agreeth not with the old. That old man don't agree with that new man. They disagree. Just like Paul said, that old woman want that new woman dead. She missed being a thought. She missed chilling with whoever she used to chill with when she wanted to chill with them. She missed smoking. He missed being a drunkard. He missed dealing with prostitutes. They don't agree, right? It says, and no man putteth new wine into old bottles, else the new wine will burst the bottles. Back then they had leather bottles, all right? And you can't take new wine and put it in an old bottle. Why? The fermentation is high, right? The alcohol content is high. That old wine skin was used to that old wine, right? So that's what settled in that skin. The same way with understanding of the Bible. You got to get that old understanding that you had up. What you learned in the Christian church, what you learned in Islam, chakra and all that. You gotta let that go. You have to surrender completely to the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai in order to be a new man, in order to be a new woman, right? It says, but new wine must be put into new bottles, and both are preserved. The doctrine, you'll keep your understanding, right? And the vessel that that understanding is in will be preserved, right? It says, no man also having drunk old wine straightway desires new. For he said the old is better. Going into what? When you first learn, you ain't gonna change right away, right? You're not gonna get everything down pat right away. It take a long time. Moses was fled from Egypt for 40 years. Then he came back and the Lord dealt with him. Had him lead the children of Israel out of Egypt. Took him a long time to get all that. It took him just as much time that to become a new man as it did him becoming an Egyptian. So, sometimes it's like that with us. Everybody not gonna grow at the same rate. It don't work like that, right? Let's get a precept. Let's go to Mark 4. Mark 4. Is there? Yep. In verse. Yep. Mark 4, and I'm gonna start at 7. It says in Psalm, so this is the parable of the sower with the word, right? Going into some people receive the word. Let me start at 1. Why not? Right? It says, and he began again to teach by the seaside, and there was gathered unto him a great multitude, so that he entered into a ship and sat in the sea. So it was so many people came to listen to Yahweh Shai that he couldn't stay on the land. He had to go on the ship and teach everybody. Right? It says, and that's deep. That's deep. It says, and he taught them many things by parables and said unto them in his doctrine, hearken, behold, there went out a sower to sow. And it came to pass as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, and the fowls of the air came and devoured it up. As you sow in this word, everybody ain't gonna receive it, right? The cares of the world gonna take some people out of this thing. And some fell on stony ground where it had not much earth, and immediately it sprang up because it had no depth of earth. Some people gonna not really believe. Some people gonna do it for a little while, and then because they don't believe, affliction, persecution, they gonna go through it, and then they gonna fall out, right? It says, but when the sun was up, it was scorched, and because it had no root, it withered away. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns grew and choked it and yielded no fruit. Some people gonna be in it, and their sins gonna take over. They're gonna get weighed down with their sins, right? Verse 8, it says, and other fell on good ground. Now, this is for you brothers and sisters that's rooted, right? It says, and did yield fruit that sprang up and increased, right? But everybody don't increase at the same rate. Brother, you might not increase at the rate your wife increasing. You may increase faster. She may increase faster, but everybody don't increase at the same rate. It says it sprang up and increased and brought forth some 30 and some 60 and some 100. So some people gonna change like that, right? Some people they're gonna be at 144,000. Some people gonna be of the elect of Israel. Some people gonna be of that great multitude, and some people ain't gonna produce nothing, right? But the ones that do produce anything are gonna kill that old man every day. They're gonna kill that old woman every single day, right? Let's keep going. Where I want to go. Yeah, let's go to First Peter. First Peter chapter 2. And we're going to start at verse 1. Right? It says, as newborn babes, right? Wherefore, laying aside all malice and all guile and hypocrisies and envies and all evil speakings. Who do that? That old man, that old woman, right? As newborn babes desire the sincere milk of the word that ye may grow thereby. So no matter what rate you grow at, how you're gonna grow at all, how you're gonna put that old man away at all is by desiring the sincere milk of the word. All of that is important. You have to first have a desire for it. Have you ever seen a baby, a newborn baby that wants some milk? Man, all hell breaking loose till you get that baby that milk, till that baby get that titty or that bottle, it's going down. Wow, that baby is not gonna be happy until it get that milk. Well, it's telling us that's how we have to be. Just like a newborn baby, you have to have a desire for the milk of the word. All right, a desire for the milk of the word. What's the milk of the word? That's the law, the basic fundamentals, the basic building blocks of the Bible. That's what's going to change you. That's what's going to grow you. The milk of the word, right? So it says, desire the sincere milk of the word that ye may grow thereby. All right, let's go to Deuteronomy 29 and 29. All right, it says, the secret things belong unto the Lord our God, but those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law. The secret things, the deep stuff in the Bible, if the Most High wants you to see that, you'll see it. He'll show it to you. It always, people have asked me on several occasions, how you know all that? I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. Right? I have very little understanding, if any. But anything that I do know is because the Lord knows and He allowed me to know it. How you learn precepts, I don't know nothing. The Lord allowed me to learn whatever precepts I might know. It ain't me, it ain't you. The secret things belong unto the Lord our God, to Yahweh. But those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever. What is revealed? The law. The law is plain, is right there. Hey, don't do this, don't do that. It's plain. That's what the Lord given to everybody. Everybody in Israel got access to that, right? So the thing that you have to do is now have a desire for it. Right from there, let's go to the book of Sirach. Let's go to Sirach 39. This is how you gonna put that old man and that old woman away every day. This is how you gonna die daily, every day. You think about that baby. When that baby wake up, it might be all right for a few minutes, and then if that baby don't get that milk, it's going down, man. You gonna hear about it, right? It knows it needs that milk. So let's go here. Sirach 39 in the Apocrypha, verse 1. It says, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High. So that's what you got to do to grow. Give your mind to the law of the Most High. Give it to it. It belongs. Give it away. Surrender. Surrender. Right? And is occupied in the meditation thereof. Think about it. That's all you think about. You can't wait to get back to the Bible, to the law. Right? If you do that, you're going to seek out the wisdom of all the ancient and be occupied in prophecies. You can't understand prophecy without having a good understanding of the law, right? So give your mind to the law and the Lord will grow you, okay? Let's go from there. Let's go to Psalms. How you going to put that old woman away, that old man away? By giving your mind to the law. right? Like Paul said, when you do that, it's gonna reveal all the sin that you in, and it's gonna become very apparent, so that then you can have your senses exercised to discern both good and evil. All right. Psalms 19 and verse 7. It says, the law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. It'll change you. It'll change you from that old man to that new man, from that old woman to that new woman. It'll change you, right? It's perfect. Ain't nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with the laws of the Most High, right? It says the testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of the Lord are right. They right. If anything is wrong, it's us. Ain't nothing wrong with the law. It's something wrong with you. It's something wrong with you. Paul said it. It's something wrong with me. Because when I want to do good, I don't do it. But that evil that I know is wrong, that's what I do. It's something wrong with us. The laws are right. Rejoicing the heart, the commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes, meaning what? It'll strengthen your discernment. Then you will be able to peep that old man. Oh, I see you. I see you, sis. You trying to come back. I see you. You trying to ruin my life. You trying to ruin my marriage. I see you. You will be up. It enlightens the eyes, right? It says the fear of the Lord is clean. And the fear of the Lord is what? To hate sin. It's clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous altogether, right? It says more to be desired are they than gold, yea, than much fine gold, sweeter also than honey and the honeycomb. Honey and honeycomb is going into the deep things of the law, the deep understanding of the Bible. But that's the law is sweeter than that, because if you, it don't matter about you got a whole bunch of understanding if you can't stop committing adultery. You can understand Song of Solomon perfectly, but if you can't stop stealing, something wrong. It should taste better than that, right? It says, moreover, by them is thy servant warned, and in keeping of them is there a great reward, right? Because your discernment is going to get stronger, right? And you're warned because it's telling you ahead of time, don't do that. If you do that, that's a sin. And if you sin, you get death, right? Plain, understand, easy to understand, right? From there, let's go to what I want to get. Yeah, let's go to First Corinthians. Let's go to First Corinthians chapter 2, and we're going to start at verse 13. I might start a little bit before that. Yeah, let's start at verse. Man, all this is fun. Let me start at 10, right? It says, but Yahweh have revealed them unto us by the Spirit. All right. For the Spirit searches all things, yea, the deep things of Yahweh. So the Spirit searching everything. You're going to be conversant in dark parables. You're going to search out the ways of the ancient prophecies. The Spirit, when you full of it, is going to lead you to search out all things in the Bible. Right? It says, for what man knoweth the things of a man, save the spirit of man which is in him. Don't nobody understand what's going on in you but you, right? And even so, the things of Yahweh knoweth no man but the spirit of Yahweh. Nobody's gonna fully be able to search and understand this Bible in its entirety. Nobody can do that but Yahweh Shah. Right? It says, now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the spirit which is of Yahweh. And that's what I was saying earlier. You want to get that American spirit out you. Stop thinking like that. That American spirit teach you to hate your sister. Just because that's because your husband got another wife, Don't mean you should hate her. You know what I'm saying? Bruh, that's his wife. You can't sleep with her. That's American school of thought, man. I'm gonna get his girl. That's how we thought when we was in the world. So when you receive the spirit of the Lord, that's the spirit of the world supposed to be leaving, right? It says that we might know the things that are freely given to us of Yahweh, which things also we speak, not in the words which man's wisdom teacheth, but which the Holy Ghost teacheth, right? The Holy Ghost is the law, the Bible, comparing spiritual things with spiritual, right? But the natural man receiveth not the things of the spirit of Yahweh, for they are foolishness unto him. The natural man is the sinful man, the sinful woman. It don't receive the things of the spirit, the spiritual things of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah. It's foolishness to them. It's foolish. You crazy, man. Ain't nobody finna stop. Man, I'm finna go out. I'm celebrating Valentine's Day or whatever the hell. That's foolishness to them, right? It says, neither can he know them because they are spiritually discerned. Going back to that word, discernment again. When you in the spirit, you're going to increase in discernment. You're going to understand. You're going to stop and pause for a second and you're going to say, that's that old man trying to creep back up. It ain't just so much as me listening to that one song. That's that old woman really trying to come back and take the new me out, take the spiritual woman out. You're going to see it through the spirit, right? It says, but he that is spiritual judgeth all things, meaning understands all things. You understand why everything is going on. Like I talked about earlier, you may have grew up in a household experiencing abuse, and that just weighed you down. It just affected you your whole life. But once you become spiritual, you understand, damn, she didn't know no better. You know what? My uncle that touched me, he did that because he had spirits on him. He knew I was 7 years old. He knew I wasn't ready to have sex. You understand all that stuff. They did that because they're Israelite too, and they under them curses. Ain't no telling what happened to them, who touched them, and then they grew up and touched me. You gonna understand that, and when you understand it, it allows you to do what? Forgive them, right? So you have to be born again. You gotta put that old man away, that old woman away, because they get what they want to hold a grudge. They planning out how to get back on auntie who molested you, on grandma that used to abuse you and treat all your other cousins and brothers and sisters good, and one feeds you sometime when you went to her house. The old man, old woman won't pay back for that. Grandma long and gone, and the old man still mad at grandma, right? So you gotta be born again. You gotta put that old man, that old woman away, because it's gonna make you understand they didn't even know what they was doing. They knew what they was doing, but they didn't know what they was doing. They didn't know what they was doing. It's just like Paul. Paul was a murderer of the church, but he said, "What? I did it ignorantly. I did it not understanding because I wasn't in the spirit. I was that old man." But when he found out what the truth was, he felt bad. He felt horrible about it. And he accepted his judgment for that, right? So it says, for who have known the mind of the Lord, that he may instruct him. But we have the mind of who? We got the mind of Hamashiach. And when you got the mind of Hamashiach, it's impossible to be that old man. It's impossible to be that old woman, right? So we have to be born again. You got to put on the mind of, let's get that in Romans. Let's go to Romans 8. How to put away that old man and that old woman. All right, Romans 8. Man, all this is good. Let me start at 1. All right, because that's the perfect title, deliverance from bondage, right? And we all need to be delivered from the bondage of that old man, that old woman, that old man just trying to hold on to you. That old woman holding on to you, don't want to let you go, right? But you need to be delivered from that, man. It says, there is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, who walk not after the flesh, but after the spirit, right? Don't walk after the flesh, but after the spirit. For the law, the spirit of life in Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, have made me free from the law of sin and death. I'm not in debt to that death that I supposed to have. Right? He died for you. He took on that debt. He took it on for you. He did the hard part, the hardest part, which was die for and suffer for your sin. Now we just gotta live it out. We gotta live up to the contract. It's just like you might be a sports player and get a contract, but it's incentives in that contract and it's stipulations in that contract. The contract is for 80 million and it's got incentives. If you get over this many, whatever, you get this extra. But it's stipulations too. You got to play X amount of games. If you don't play X amount of games, that's why you hear them say 80 million guaranteed. No matter what happens, I get that 80 million. But with us, it ain't. We ain't got that. It ain't guaranteed. If you don't live up to the terms of the contract, then you don't get that gift. It's not guaranteed, right? You got to live up to the stipulations of the contract, or we get what? Death, right? So it says you're delivered, you made free from the law of sin and death, meaning you don't got to die today if you commit adultery. If you committed adultery last night, pick yourself up, repent, don't do it no more, right? It says, for what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh, God sending his own son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin condemned sin in the flesh. That's what I just said. The law couldn't allow you to repent for certain sins. The law of sin and death was, if you do this sin, you die. Your mama can't die for you. You can't kill that goat for sleeping with that goat. The goat didn't do nothing. You violated the goat, so you gotta die. But Yahweh Shai came in the flesh and died for us, so now you got grace. You can repent now, right? Let's keep going. It says that the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us, that we would live out the terms of the contract, that we would basically just show gratitude. Man, I'm thankful that Yahweh Shai died for me. I'm gonna walk after the spirit, right? It says, who walk not after the flesh, but after the spirit. It says, so that's the reason why you need to, that's the reason why you need to kill that old man every day. That's the reason why you need to kill that old woman every day, right? Let me get a precept. Let me go to 2 Corinthians chapter 5, right? And verse 14. It says, for the love of Hamashiach constraineth us. When you constrain something, you holding it back. You holding back that old man, that old woman. You doing them like this. Nope, you can't. Nope, you ain't getting up today. Your mind is already, when you wake up, you ready for them. Nope, I ain't thinking about that. I rebuke you in the name of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, Satan, because I know that's what that is, right? So it says it simply come down to, do you love the Lord? If you love Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, when you think about going and doing that sin, think about that he loved you. He suffered for you. Is that pleasure of that sin, that lack of discipline worth? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? If we just stop and pause and think about that for a moment, it'll constrain us. Because we thus judge that if one died for all, then we're all dead. We're all supposed to die just like he died. But you killing that old man, you killing that old woman, right? It says, and that he died for all, that they which live should not henceforth live unto themselves, but unto him which died for them and rose again. Right? It says, wherefore henceforth we know man after the flesh. Yea, though we have known Hamashiach after the flesh, yet now henceforth know we him no more. Right? It says, therefore, if any man be in Hamashiach, he is a new creature. Old things, that old American mindset, that old way you used to eat, that old way you used to think, the everything that you used to do, it says is passed away. That's if you be in Hamashiach. Behold, all things are become new, right? All things will become new. So let's go back to Romans. So basically, you loving him enough is supposed to make you not do that sin, right? It says, verse 5, it says, for they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh. You don't think spiritually about anything if you of the flesh, right? It says, but they that are after the spirit of thing of the after the spirit, the things of the spirit. You understand the spiritual reason why this is happening to you, why you got this urge, why you got that thought, right? It says, for to be it all start in the mind. For to be carnally minded is death. Whatever kind of thoughts you letting you harboring up here, that are fleshly thoughts, any type of thoughts you having up here that you just letting fester, that ain't spiritual, it's gonna lead you to death. But to be spiritually minded is life and peace. It's gonna be peaceful knowing that I ain't break them laws. I wanted to go and watch that, but I didn't. All praises. It's peaceful knowing that, but when you know you in sin and you know you ain't right, you looking over your shoulder because you know the Lord gonna judge you. You like, I might not ride to the store. Might get in an accident. I know I went right last night. You thinking all kind of stuff. I done been there. Right? It says, because the carnal mind is enmity against Yahweh, for it is not subject to the law of Yahweh. Neither indeed can be. That old man, that old woman can't and it won't keep them laws. Right? So then they that are in the flesh cannot please Yahweh, but ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit, if so be that the spirit of Yahweh dwell in you. Now, if any man have not the spirit of Hamashiach, he is none of his. You ain't here, you are the devil. Right? It says, and if Hamashiach be in you, the body is dead because of sin. That old man getting killed every day. That old woman getting killed every day. But the spirit is the life because of righteousness. That spirit man, that spirit woman live because of righteousness, because of the law. It says, but if the spirit of him that raised up Hamashiach from the dead dwell in you, he that raised up Hamashiach from the dead shall also quicken your mortal bodies by the spirit that dwelleth in you. All right. And so that's the point. That's the point of the class. The same that Yahweh Shah raising from the dead is a correlation between him dying and rising again and us dying and rising again through the spirit. You supposed to die. Yo, you supposed to die and you supposed to rise. It's all you, right? You, the flesh, you in the world supposed to die, and you in the spirit supposed to rise up every single day. Kill that old man, kill that old woman, and let that spiritual man and that spiritual woman raise up, raise from the dead. All right. So that's gonna be it, man. Most High willing, it was edifying. You got something out of the class, you know. The Lord's will, my heart's desire is that all Israel be saved, man. And I think I could speak for a lot of the men in Israel when I say that. All right, so all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. It's your brother Nashan. It's the Sabbath. Let's not bear no burdens. Keep the Sabbath with joy and mirth. All right, if you out on the streets, be safe, man. Keep your head on a swivel. But at the same time, we die for the Lord. We ain't afraid to go for the Most High in these laws. All right. So with that, I'm gonna say, Kwam Yasha.